If you haven't had an opportunity to watch the latest episode of Constantine, stop listening now. Major spoilers. Here we go. Happy Halloween. Today is October 31st, 2014. The day that ghouls come out in the streets and beg for candy. And tonight we got some ghouls out in the streets begging for John Constantine to send them back to hell. Alright, so real quick synopsis about the episode. The title was called The Darkness Beneath. And John tries to protect residents of a small mining community who are being threatened by a Welsh spirit. A mysterious young woman becomes John's new ally. And of course, the original air date is October 31st, 2014. I have mixed feelings about this episode. But I will say this. If this is the direction that the show is going to go in, they did a great job. And I guess fixing whatever errors David S. Goyer and Daniel Cerrone, whatever they decided to do, whatever issues they had at Comic-Con, whatever the case may be, Lucy Griffiths is out. And now we have Angélica Celaya. And I don't even know if I butchered her name. Most likely I did. She's playing the girl called Zed. Liv is no longer in the show. Zed is Zed Martin from the original Constantine comic book. Zed is one of the first lovers and allies of Constantine. That just took me a couple of seconds, honestly, to go on Google and say, who the hell is Zed? And that's what came up with it. So those are the adjustments that David S. Goyer, a.k.a., one of the writers from Man of Steel. Obviously, we're talking also about Da Vinci's Demons, or whatever that show is called, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So I think that it's a good decision. You could definitely see that John Constantine and Zed, they have immediate chemistry for some reason. I don't know if they planned it like that. It seems like the characters interact a little bit better. Maybe that's the acting. I don't know. Like I said, Lucy Griffiths, in her portrayal of Liv, it seemed like she was just doing exactly what the girl, Daniel Craig's wife, I forget her name right now, it'll come to me in a little bit, but it seemed like she was doing the exact same role off of the movie Constantine, even though they were named different names, the characters, but she just looked like the girl off of the Constantine movie, so they got rid of her. Now, Zed is Zed Martin. She is the character from the Constantine book, and I guess her special power or her ability, because John Constantine has the ability to talk to the occult, the supernatural, stuff like that, and she has the ability to see the future through drawings. Okay, and let me kind of go into this. Zed. She decided to, or she ended up drawing a picture of John Constantine, and we saw that at the end of the pilot episode. Now, this pilot episode that aired last week was not the pilot episode from Comic-Con. After Comic-Con failed, I guess, horribly or whatever, and people just didn't like that character, they redid some stuff, shot some different scenes or whatever, and then came up with the Zed character, or not came up with her, but I guess, added her to the show. And then they edited a little piece into it, added a little segment into the show, into the pilot episode that aired. They added the piece of Zed, drawing Constantine on the drawing paper. And then in this episode tonight, Darkness Beneath, we got to see Zed do her drawings of John Constantine, and then after that bump into John Constantine. I'm not really going to go too much into this. In this one, it was really easy, man. Like, there's a small mining community that are being haunted by the spirit. John Constantine comes into the mining community. He investigates. He talks to the wife of the victim that was killed inside of the mining inside of the mining shaft. And then after that, he talks to the president after being confronted inside of a house of the spouse. He actually shows up to this little dinner party or whatever, or not a dinner party, but a wake. And then after that, the president kicks him out, and then the whole mining team, they get into a little scuffle. He runs into Zed and then adds Zed to the team, and then he, investigates the mine and then finds out that it has the spirit that is supposed to be a protector spirit. He reminds the spirit using his occult knowledge, and then after that, he goes back to the miner's wife's house. I guess the mourning spouse, I guess you can say, because she's grieving, the grieving spouse. And then after that, he, confronts her and says, I recognize, some of the Welsh spirit around you or whatever. And then after that, he calls upon the miner that was killed to seek revenge on his cheating, abusive, grieving wife, widow, whatever you want to call her. And after that, he pulls the spirit of the dead widow's husband, pulls the widow down into hell, and then that's the end of the show. Now, the reason why I don't want to spend too much time on there is because I think this was a kind of wasted episode, and the reason why I think it's wasted is because they could have done something else. They could have allowed maybe the backstory of Zed's character to come out now, rather than they just wasted it. I mean, I understand it was a Halloween episode, but this was a Halloween episode that wasn't scary. There was like maybe one scene that I jumped at, and that was because it happened so fast. I was like, whoa, what was that? And it wasn't like, whoa, what was that? I'm scared to death. I wanna run, but I couldn't, because it just wasn't scary. I think they just put this in there as like, oh, it's a spooky day. Let's put in some spooky characters. It pretty much, if you watch The Mummy, any of the mummy movies, okay, from the Brandon Fraser era, then you would see all these special effects. So take all of those mummy scenes, and instead of having like a brown mummy, just turn them like charcoal black. And if you don't know what the Mummy is, and you don't know what I'm talking about when I say Brandon Fraser era, then just go watch The Walking Dead and fast forward into like season 4 or season 5, where you can get some charcoal zombies, and that's exactly what you were able to see. Now take those zombies, mix them into supernatural elements off of the Supernatural show, and that's what you had tonight, okay? Really great CGI, really great editing, but it was just really a waste of film, okay? Now, the reason why I gave it this low rating is just because it was just a waste, okay? The mining community, this small town which thrives, its economy thrives on mining, is no longer thriving. So within 10 to 15 years, this small town is going to be dead. It's going to be jobless. It's going to be homeless. There's going to be a rise inside of unemployment, because at the end of the episode, John Constantine, along with this preacher dude and Zed Martin, they decide to blow up the mining shaft for some reason. I don't know why. They reminded the protecting spirit that it was a protecting spirit, not a demon spirit. And then the protecting spirit no longer killed people anymore. It went into the upside down triangle, and it was gone. And it wasn't harmful for anyone, but yet they blew up the mining shaft just to show, I guess, the ridiculously horrible special effects for that blow-up scene. That was really, really bad. Really bad explosion. It was a small, tiny explosion, then they added a couple of bit of fire elements and rocks flying out, and don't even get me started on that. But the mining community is going to be hurting. This is just crazy. And they left it like that. But the reason why I gave that rating of 6 out of 10 stars is because of all those elements, man. Now, one of the cool things that they did, and this will be the last 2 minutes that I talk about, and that'll be it. And then I'll go back on another podcast and we'll just talk about really, really cool things that I saw tonight that I just kind of want to expand upon. John Constantine almost smoked a cigarette tonight. Like, he had a cigarette in his mouth, he was about to light it up, and then Zed decided to tempt him on the bed, okay? She was, like, not even butt naked, she just had, like, a t-shirt and panties on, and then he came in and was like, well, I'm not going to sit here and smoke this, love, I'm going to go ahead and get those guts. And then after that, he stopped, even lighting it up. He was just about to, and I was like, oh, man, this is so crazy, this is awesome, John Constantine is about to smoke in front of us, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm 12 again, and then he stopped. And that was it. I was like, wow, okay. But at least they did give us the cigarette, and I really thought that was awesome. Another thing they expand that I really love how they did a little bit, and when I talk about that just for a couple of seconds, and I'll stop it. They allowed you to see a little bit more of the occult. They allowed you to see a little bit more elements of John Constantine and how he interacts with the demons and the spirits and stuff like that. And I thought that was really, really cool, man. Also, I think they did touch upon the whole bisexual situation that's going on with John Constantine, because there's a scene where Zed, she comes on to Constantine and then he walks away and actually jumps out of a window later on. Like, there was big time chemistry, but he was just like, yeah, babe, I gotta go, I'll be right back. And then after that, he's gone. I mean, I understand he had a mission, but, there's always time to play before we go and try to, send people to hell. Yeah, so that's it, guys. 6 out of 10 stars, The Darkness Beneath. I think that next week's episode is going to be kind of really, really has an opportunity to get a 10 out of 10 star episode. And the reason why is because I guess Papa Midnight is there. And we'll talk about that in the next podcast. Guys, thanks again, man. I went a little bit over time. That's about 11 minutes. Guys, we're out of here. Comment, like, subscribe, man, and tell me if you liked the Constantine second episode, which is, I guess, is the pilot episode, but it's not. But whatever, man. Anyway, guys, we're out of here. Go to part 2 if you just want to hear me talk about really cool stuff inside of Constantine. We're out of here.